Good evening, and welcome to Into the Mind of Madness with Commissar Halthron. Today we're going to take a look at a game with the Japanese Air Force with a good friend of mine, STRATEGICMANATEE. We're going to start out here. We're going to be in the A6M3 Mod 22. There's a battle on the Gorge map. Wonderful winter wonderland. And, not the best game with the Japanese, but certainly one of my more impressive games with the Japanese, in my opinion. And my opinion is just about the only one that matters to me. So, your thoughts can be whatever you want. And we have a wonderful view of the airfield, the ground, and the thinnest road in human history. So, when Manatee and I have a tendency to really stick together as wingmen, and I think this is a great game to demonstrate how useful that can be. So, here we are, obviously, a fairly useful start. That's finding out what my teammates are doing. Generally a good idea to do as I look around at the beginning of the game. Really just to get a good idea of what's happening. Staying on top of situational awareness, obviously, is very important. It's very difficult, but it's very important for games of war thunder or flying airplanes in general. So, here we are. We decided to go out. That's Manatee behind me, and also flying the A6M3, and a little bit of shenanigans here as we come a little close. A great way to wake up in the morning, and we decide probably shouldn't do that again. But, of course, theatrics are theatrics. So, now we're going to take a little bit of a hitch to the right as we, I believe a bunch of targets started congregating in that little valley over there, and no one else is here yet. That is an F6F that we're coming in on. Strafe him a bit, and Manatee gets the kill there. As you can see, we cut him apart pretty fast. Didn't stand a chance. And now we're gonna diving in a little bit on the red mark out there is a Spitfire. So Spitfire is obviously fairly maneuverable, but not more maneuverable than the A6. So I take him a couple of shots, come around, and just as I'm lining him up, Manatee comes in and annihilates his pilot. So there we go. A wonderful little display of teamwork. Now we're going to dive into this valley. Usually with the Japanese, it's a good idea to let your targets kind of start a battle, and then you join in once everyone's kind of found their little dogfight, and you ruin their lives. The Japanese can't really do too well starting dogfights because it puts them at a significant disadvantage as they're slower than everyone else around them. Anyone who knows there's an A6 on their tail should just leave, as they can be outrun by just about anything in the field. That's a wonderful pilot sniper with a P-39 and a close encounter with Manatee once again. Here we have a little bit of a Lavochkin contest going in here. The Lavochkin GG3s. One of them's hitting me in close encounters of the Dornier kind, and a wonderful view of the undercarriage, for those of you who'd like to see that. Really just trying to save face here, but I'm quite done. And now we're moving on to the A6M3, air quotes, standard edition. Obviously, it's just a different model. I believe Model 15 is the correct numerical designation for this plane. And right now, I'm just I'm going to zoom in. Manatee is still in that pocket. I'm basically just trying to report the targets around him that he's not necessarily looking at. As I believe there's a Lavochkin GG3 still in the area. There's another one up high up to the left. You can see that little red dot in the mist. He's basically just holding on to himself. He damaged by one of them, and I believe he comes back around and shows that one who's boss. basically just trying to keep him as alive as possible as I re-engage. Ends out working quite well. You can see we've got a few more allies in the mix now. And, now we're going to come across, and there's a Spitfire. And there's a Spitfire corpse. Coming around, I believe we decide to disengage that little pocket. There's a Spitfire corpse again. And head back towards some of our ground forces to more open targets. That noise in the background is clearly a Russian machine gun. I have no idea where it comes from. That probably should alarm me more than it does. A wonderful GG3 decides to join us. Well, I decide to join him. And then he decides to leave us. Now we're run out of cannons. And me and Manatee have decided, Manatee and I, Grammar, have decided that we're going to go into the center field. I think we pretty much cleared out the targets back there. So we're heading over to the center field to basically just to find someone else to kill. That in the distance, I believe, right in front of me now, is, I believe, an F4U Corsair that Manatee takes down over the other side of the mountain. I'm not 100% on that, but I come over the mountain and he's not there anymore. So it was a couple of days ago that this happened. So I'm fairly certain that was the F4U that we see in the kill feed right there. And down below me, there's Manatee again, and there's a 109E. 109E3 goes for him. Now at this point, Manatee had been telling me about some other 109E, and I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. But I continue to take on this guy. He tries to dodge me in a valley, but he just can't get his airspeed up to really run away from me. And it's just a matter of time before I take him down. Yeah, here we go. Happy birthday. Now we come over and back to the riverbed where we're gonna find some other interesting things. That's a 109E. Well, there was something over there. That's the 109E right there in that pocket that I'm diving on now. I don't quite know what becomes of him. I don't believe I kill him, but he doesn't make it either way. So, very irrelevant flying for him. And now we come across here. That is a Dornier 217. No, that is the bow fighter that I snipe. Alright, getting a little ahead of myself. You really can't run through the cockpit ought to do your pilot in any way I see it. I believe I'm using ground target ammunition on the cannons on this thing, since it's particularly devastating to aircraft. If anybody cares. Now there's, out over to my right, kind of just surveying the field for targets. That little bugger would be a Dornier 217. We, or myself and Manatee, decide that engaging at this point is, well, we can do it. I have a bizarre fascination with destroying Dornier 217s. It is a little bizarre how much I enjoy killing those planes. Obviously, he has, he's figured us out, so we break off and come around. The A6, the beautiful thing about the A6 is just that you're able to retain most of your airspeed through a turn, and you can do that turn fairly quickly. Surveying for targets. This is really seeing if anything's chasing us or if there's anything else we could go after. I dive back on, but Manatee's still up there, really giving the Dornier hell. Now I believe he runs out of cannon rounds. That looks right. And, so I give him a go. Obviously a little bit of the problem here is, right around the corner, right there actually now coming into view, is the enemy base. And that's a bad place for the Japanese to be. So we cut through this valley. I'm deciding that Dornier's not worth the time or the cannon rounds. And seek better fortunes on the other side of the world. Now, as we're cutting through here, basically just trying to make sure that we're not getting tailed by anything that was coming out of the base. But that's really not much of a concern. Here we have an F6F, and as you might be able to tell, he is crawling. Absolutely lost all of his airspeed with no intention to recover. I mean, really, that plane is barely moving. And I come back around to finish him off. And that's that. So, again, not exactly a very exciting game, but a 6-kill game any way you look at it. And that's Into the Mind of Madness with Lord Halthron for today, our first edition. Stick with us, folks. There's more terrifying madness to come.